Ring ring, it's time for another episode of Crossplay Conversations, a show where we dive deep into the world of video games while keeping it light. I'm your host today, Jacob McCourt, and I have three friends with me today. Let's start with the sneaker savant, Joseph Hooper. Hello.
What's up, everybody? Last week I showed my brick Jordan 4s. This week I have another interesting shoe. It's a stitched together Union collab. It has a Chicago Jordan on the bottom and a Jordan Shadow on the top, stitched. Even the laces, if you see, are stitched. We got stitched laces, Chicago and Jordan laces mixed together or something like that. Some weird double lace magic. There you go, everybody. That's your bit of sneaker news for today.
Honestly, this is the reason why, if you are listening to the show in audio, you should check it out in the video form on YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, not subscribed, hit that button. If you're on audio, find us on YouTube. Just search Crossplay Conversations. Let's go to my second friend, the engaged one, Luke Lewis. Hello.
Howdy, gamers. How we doing?
We're doing great. We're here to talk about gaming backlogs today. Luke, how big's your backlog? Huge?
Oh, Jacob.
Hey-o.
Jacob. Can't even count.
Hey, man, the size of the backlog does not matter, all right?
Yeah, the size of the backlog does not mean anything for the size of the man. That's what they always say, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
And here to talk about backlogs with us, he is from Welcome to the Thing, the Players Club podcast, and VGU.TV. It's Emmett Watkins Jr. Hello, Emmett.
What is going on? I also want to add to the sneaker reporting here and also tell everyone that there is a movie that exists called Sneaks, in which Martin Lawrence, Anthony Mackie, Lawrence Fishburne, Keith David, and many, many more, including DJ Mustard, are all sneakers and running around New York.
Incredible.
Crazy trailer.
Yeah.
Crazy trailer.
I saw that ahead of the Looney Tunes movie like 2 weeks ago, and it might make me think of it right now.
Shit, okay.
Would it be appropriate for me to yell Mustard right now?
It absolutely would, and I feel like they're going to make that joke in that movie because it seems like it's that cheap.
They must. They must.
Okay.
Emmett, if folks don't know who you are, what you do, can you give folks a short idea of what you're up to and what you bag?
So here's my bag, y'all. Besides obscure sneaker films, I'm just a guy on the internet talking about video games. Welcome to the Thing is a show that I do with TL Foster and Jarrett Green, where we talk a lot about like pop culture, black culture, sometimes video games every now and then. Players Club Podcast is the podcast I do for VGU.TV, that website. So that's pretty much all just video games, unless I'm feeling particularly spicy that day. And then VGU.TV is the site proper, where I write reviews about stuff. Sometimes things that aren't quite reviews, like my Astrobot piece, which is not a review, but just an exploration of like corporate loyalty. And I make some YouTube videos on the side. I talk really loud on BlueSky a lot. You'll see me around. I'm just a guy, but I'm doing a lot of stuff, trying to be out here, make content, have some fun. And we're about to do a lot of that today, most likely. But you might also know me from Spoonful Podcast, which I used to do with Mario Pequidio, which this episode is kind of a spiritual successor to one of those episodes.
Yeah, if you want to listen to that before this or after this, that's episode 24 of Spoonful. We'll make sure to share it in the description. But today is exactly that. It is a show about gaming backlogs. So with that, we're going to start with our icebreaker question. We always start with one, and today it's thematically appropriate. As a teaser of what's to come in this episode, I'd love to know the latest game that you pulled out of your gaming backlog. So essentially something that is not new, that is old, that you are playing today. I feel like Joseph and Luke, this is maybe an unfair question for you guys because it might be the same thing. But why don't I start with Luke here?
Sure. So, yeah, a little bit of a cheat answer because we were all recently guests on friend of the show Dave Jackson's podcast Tales from the Backlog, which is all about backlog games. So it's very appropriate to this topic. But we played El Paso Elsewhere from Strange Scaffold. That was one that's been on my backlog for multiple years. Immaculate vibes, really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a cool, spooky, narrative-driven Max Payne game, really, really rad. But yeah, we'll get into it a little bit later in the episode, but I'm very bad about managing my backlog outside of content obligations. When I have like a homework assignment, I'll nail it every time. Unless that pressure is there, it's a struggle.
Well, hopefully we'll maybe give you a strategy or two that you can apply to your life.
Okay. We'll see how it goes. I'm ready.
Hoopman, is your answer the same, or you got something else that you're cooking on?
I got something else. I don't think I mentioned it on the show, but I started playing Liza P a couple weeks ago because I saw I was leaving Game Pass. Did not beat it before it left Game Pass, so I bought it and then I beat it. So this was a game that I'd heard about because people were kind of talking about how crazy the ending was, or the teaser at the ending. And for the longest time over the last year or so, I was always curious about what that teaser was. And now the DLC got announced about a month or so ago. I was like, all right, it's time for me to check it out. And I beat it. It was fantastic. One of the best Souls-likes not from software, I guess. So highly recommend. Was the teaser worth playing that whole game? No, it definitely was not. But the entire game was good, so that was worth playing the whole game.
Love it. Emmett, what you been playing?
Quite a bit more obscure than any of those games.
Hell yeah.
So recently I picked up an ROG Ally X, which I'm very excited about. Upgraded from a Steam Deck. One of the buttons went wrong on a Steam Deck, so I said, hey, now's the time. I've been saving anyway. And I've been diving into a lot of old stuff, a lot of stuff that wouldn't run on the Steam Deck, including the game that I finally beat after over a decade of just leaving it there. Sniper Elite V2.
Hell yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that is a, if you know Rebellion games, you know all the Sniper Elite games and the Atomfall game that just came out as well. I have been a big fan of theirs ever since I beat Sniper Elite 4 back on the PS4. And I've been curious about the other games ever since, but I had forgotten that I had played V2 like on my laptop I took to the first year of college. Like that's how long ago it was that I was trying to play that. And I got a good chunk of the way through it and then just put it down. I saw that I picked up in 2019, put it down again, probably because the world ended shortly after. And then I picked it up now on the ROG Ally, and it was great. I only had 3 levels left, so I got done with the game. Turns out it was only 8 hours long, so I was like, what was I doing? What was I doing? Like,
how many bad men did you shoot in the crotch?
You know what? They didn't add crotch shots until the 3rd game. But I did get a particularly satisfying snipe on one guy, because if you don't hit any vital organs, they just get incapacitated. And so a friend has to come over and like help him up. So this guy like picks up his friend and helps him up right after I shot him. And I'm like frantically trying to get him before he runs away. And it hits that slow-mo sniper shot in some weird place. I'm like, I know there's no crotch shots, and I hit him lower in the body. So what did I hit? Sure enough, I hit his grenade. So he just blows up. Nice. And it's a double kill, and it's the funniest thing in the world. It never gets old.
Because that's where you keep your grenades, right? Right near the crotch.
Yeah, near your waistline, but basically yes. I'll take it either way. So yeah, that's the main one I've played, and it was a good time.
You liking the ROG Ally X? Like, is that a Windows portable?
Yeah, it is Windows, and that's the main reason I wanted to upgrade to it, because the Steam Deck is great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great, it's versatile, you can do a lot with it. But there's a couple quirks I didn't love about it. Because it is Linux based, if you wanted to play anything that wasn't Steam, you'd have to jump through a hoop or two. And those hoops aren't difficult to jump through, but like, I want my GOG achievements for good old games. I want my Epic achievements for those. And you couldn't really get those on Steam Deck. You can play the games, but you couldn't like access all the stuff of those ecosystems. So now in Windows, I got everything going. I got Emu Deck for PC up on here. I was playing Ratchet and Clank 3 earlier today. I'm having a grand old time. Nice. So yeah, it's everything I could have wanted and more. I'm just glad that I saved up for it rather than being like, all right, sign me up for the payment plan.
I'll wrap us up on the icebreaker. I have been playing, and I might have mentioned this on a past show, Persona 4 Golden. I am 26 hours into that one. Requires a lot of backtracking, and I went, hey, do I have to grind? And I think I was actually talking to maybe Dave Jackson, who had recently played it, and he's like, yeah, man, like that's a lot of the game. That's JRPGs. Welcome. You have to go back and grind and make sure you're the right level for those dungeons. So I fell off a bit because I had a bunch of new stuff to play. But once I finish with Wanderstop, I will probably go back and maybe finish Persona 4 Golden before Expedition 33 comes out.
There you
go. Got my plan ready here.
Nice.
Yeah,
love it.
I need to take my Vita out and go back to that one.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah! So we mentioned this is a show about backlogs. So I think the best place to start is maybe to talk about our personal philosophies and histories with our backlogs. Because I know that some people, if you are a game player, some people are like, man, whatever I feel like I pull out of the backlog. And other people are like, I meticulously curate and craft my backlog and pull things out based on a very specific, timing or cadence. So if that's the spectrum, where do you fall? Emmett, I'd love to ask you first as our guest today.
Whew. It's kind of difficult because I'd love to say I have like a very specific methodology of like, all right, I go through this process, but really it's mostly vibe space. But I understand it's vibe space based off of what I'm seeing. So a lot of it will be influenced by, oh, this just hit PlayStation Plus. Let me go investigate that. I'm like a little bit more than 2/3 of the way through Resistance 1, just because
Wow.
at the beginning of the year, because I love Insomniac. Like I told you, I'm playing Ratchet & Clank 3. That's one of the few Ratchets I haven't beaten. I've beaten almost all of them, platinum the grand majority of them too. So like I'm a big Insomniac fan, love Spider-Man as well, but Resistance is a blind spot for me. So I wanted to go ahead, besides Resistance 3, which I did play, I wanted to see 1 and 2. They got added to PlayStation Plus not too long ago. And with the ROG Ally, because it is Windows based, there is a Windows version of the PlayStation Plus streaming app. So cool. I said, hey, I'm going to plug in my Ethernet cable to it and get to going. So it's really just of what novel thing do I have access to? That's usually what I'm going for. And then often it's also if I ran into a YouTube video or if like one of my video SAS people sprinkle in one of these games in there, then it plants a seed in my head. And then I'm like, all right, in like 2 weeks, once I've been thinking about this for a very long time, I'm going to boot this up and I'm going to have some fun. And then sometimes it's just games that I know aren't going to take a lot of mental capacity from me because there's one game, 1,000 Times Resist. Everyone says that game is great, and I've played a good chunk of it, but I'm nervous about it because I know as soon as I like dive all into that game, it's all I'm going to think about and care about for like 3 months. So I'm very nervous about that, but there's really no stakes if I play something like Alien Rage, some random 2013 PS3 shooter that I also had on Steam. I sat there, knuckled through that because not only is it slightly shorter, but like that game, I'm not thinking about it anymore. It is off my back and I can move on to the next thing. So there is a little bit of weight there that I distribute where I have to be in the right mindset to be consumed by a game when most of the time I just want to like see if something's cool and then hop off. And I really favor those games where it's like, hey, what's cool? And then I hop off.
So like vibes based with a little structure in there.
Yeah, slight structure. Yes.
Joseph, I know that you're also a vibes person when it comes to backlogs. Tell me about it.
Yeah, everything he was saying very much lines up with my philosophy as well. I will add in there, like, I'm a little ADHD when it comes to, or like maybe ADHD isn't the right term, but like I'm obsessive when it comes to like finishing games. So if I don't finish a game, it will always be in the back of my head for like years, right? Like I can always like recount, oh yeah, I never finished this game. I have to get back to it at some point. For a while it was like, oh yeah, like I would have to go back to it immediately. Or like within the year or a couple months just to finish it. Now I'm not as much like that, but I still know that, oh, I'm in the middle of Nier Automata. I got to see how that finishes. I didn't finish the last chapter of Baldur's Gate 3. So that's kind of how my backlog builds, is like games I start and don't finish. But then it is kind of like, okay, what's the grapevine talking about? You know what I mean? Like me talking about Liza P was like people just whispering and whatnot about how great that teaser was. I love that this fucking zoom is happening on the video.
Yeah. I have one of those weird cameras where it's like hand gestures to move it, and I thought I turned it off, but every time I like do one of these, it thinks that I'm zooming out. It's weird.
This is another reason why you guys need to look at
the Easter eggs. You gotta be here for
it. Indeed.
But yeah, just like whatever people are talking about, sometimes you'll hear a lot of people say, hey, this is the greatest game of all time for X, Y, and Z reason. And I'm like, okay, let me do my research. Let me be a video game sommelier and really put myself to the test to see if this game is as hype as people say they are. So it's like one of those two buckets. Is this game something that I just haven't finished, or is this game that people are buzzing about? So I should probably just check it out when I get time.
Luke, vibes or structure?
Definitely
or shame.
Definitely vibes. Sprinkled in a fair bit of shame. Yeah, I think I'm a mix of everything that's been mentioned. I arguably try to play too much. I bite off more than I can chew. and then I backpedal and don't finish a lot of games. I think for me, when I do finish a game, it's like really speaks highly of the game. I think in my adult age in recent years, especially, I'm very precious with my free time, if that makes sense. So I think I remember like when I was a teenager, I'd get a game for my birthday or whatever. Like I'm finishing that game. Like I'm committed. I have this game now, must finish. Whereas now it's like I'll definitely bounce off a game if it's not resonating with me and move on to something that I'm enjoying more. So I think similar to what Joseph was saying, like I do remember these games that I don't finish, but I've also kind of just accepted that like I really enjoy kind of knowing what's up, knowing what folks are talking about, checking out especially different indie games, just kind of having an idea of the scene and the landscape day to day. So like I sacrifice finishing a lot of stuff just to kind of have a taste of a lot of different games, which I think for better or for worse definitely leads to a big backlog. But I'm always happy with how I spend my time, if that makes sense. Like the games I do finish, I really enjoy, and the games I bounce off of, I'm usually okay with, if that makes sense.
So, Jacob, I'm going to let you give your answer for a second, but Luke brought up a great point that I was thinking about, but I forgot to bring up. Definitely how I approach my backlog now, like in the last couple years, is definitely different than how I approached it maybe 5+ years ago because of the time thing. The time thing is big. One, I am now in the like era of these games are too long. So even if I'm enjoying it decent, like decent really isn't good enough for me to commit another 20 hours in this day and age, just because not only do I have other games to play, but I just got other lives to live. You know what I mean? So that also kind of shapes the backlog in terms of like, I want to get back to this, but I don't know if I want to commit the time to get back to this. So that's another interesting wrinkle that I feel like I didn't have when I was a little bit younger.
And you can throw in the money wrinkle too of Emmett's talking about having access to all these games on the ROG and different platforms and different game libraries and all this stuff. And a new game comes out, we could buy it. You know, a Steam sale, grab a bunch of games for the backlog. Like our options are endless, so it's hard to narrow it down at any one given time because there's always another game that you could check out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was a lot I loved in all of your kind of ways, but I think that I'm also like, as a gamer, just things come up, sequels are coming. We have new games from established studios where you didn't play their first titles. So like to a certain degree, there's always going to be that vibes base to it. I would say that over the years, I've also maybe gotten more precious about my backlog where, except for physical games, I'm a dumbass when it comes to buying physical games. You can see if you watch the video version, here are all of my physical games. When's the last time that I opened a 360 title over here? The answer is Metal Gear Rising, maybe 18 months ago, and then I haven't touched anything
very specific
since. Yeah. Oh, actually, Brutal Legend as well. I pulled off of here.
Okay, that's even more specific.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: you
weird.
say your vibes based, but I feel like you have a lot of structure that you're discussing. The fact that you can pull these dates and times.
Yeah, I'm also trying to collect a full Wii U collection, as you can see here, and so we are, I think, 60 titles away from a whole Wii U set. So
you got Devil's Third in there yet?
Which one?
Devil's Third.
No, but I have not. I have not seen it because I want to like come upon it.
Okay.
And then purchase it, and the prices come way down. So Devil's Third for Wii U, Team Ninja Joint, it's the most expensive Wii U game. It was up to like $700 US for a North American copy.
Oh, come on!
In the pandemic, it has come way down. We are now in the like $200 to $300 range for a North American. You can get like a European for like less than that. But that's one that I want to come upon. I do have the second or third most expensive, which is Axiom Verge. I do have the multiverse edition because there was only 6,000 of them that were made, and so I have one.
You got Turbo the snail.
Turbo is the second or third most expensive Wii U game that I don't have. Yeah. I'm living up to the Wii U Wonder Kid.
Oh my god, that's incredible!
Vibe here, but someday I will have a full set, and then we'll have to do an episode about the Wii U. It's happening.
Quick tangential question within this realm of background. you're a collector. I enjoy collecting physical media as well. How do you delineate between like I'm picking this up for my collection, but I don't necessarily have the intent to immediately play it, versus I am buying this game because I want to play it in the near future? Like, do you consider it a backlog game if you're just buying it to have?
Yes,
Okay,
I think so.
fair enough.
Except for the Wii U set, like, because I'm buying like Just Dance 4. What are the chances of me playing that, or ESPN football or basketball 2020? Like, I'm not gonna play that. But for the rest, if I'm picking it up, there is a non-zero chance like of me in the next couple of years trying to play it.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, I just bought Ghost Trick physical. When on a recent trip I was on, and that's like a Japanese only copy. It's becoming harder to find, so I was like, I don't want to play it right now, but I will eventually play it. So I would say, Luke, like most of the time it is, I want to play this in my lifetime, so therefore it's going on the shelf.
Okay, I like the eternal backlog. That's kind of how I think about it too, of like it's almost a preservation thing, especially in digital media nowadays, where it's like I'm gonna buy this on physical on Xbox 360 or whatever, so I could replay it. That sort of thing.
Even though you don't own anything technically, right? Like, you're just buying licenses to video games, and you own a physical totem where really the value you're paying for is a license and like a printed disc and case. But I'm not a lawyer. Maybe we can get a lawyer on sometime to talk about that.
Nintendo just gave me the ability to turn my digital games into physical digital games, all right? So take that back. They're mine.
Yes, they're yours.
They did. Is Don Matrick at Nintendo now? What happened?
Actually, I'd like to recreate the Sony video from a long time ago.
There you go.
Remember
the Adam Boys video, the iconic
Killzone
video.
Shadowfall.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Actually, I think I have that physically too. Hold up.
I think I do too, actually.
I definitely don't have it. Was that a PS4 or PS3?
I don't.
That was PS4.
It was a PS4
launch,
game.
Yeah.
PS4.
Yeah, I don't have one. Maybe I need one. That's what I'm trying to learn. Oh, there it is.
There you go.
There it is.
Killzone Shadowfall physical.
Can you pass it through the frame to Jacob?
All right, there we go. I'm not sure if it's this way.
Here. Thanks.
There you go.
Yeah, that works.
This makes for great physical comedy on a digital podcast. But
Love it.
let me pull us back here. Sorry for
Yes.
all the tangents. I manage physical. I have it in my library, but then I also have a list, and then I have this thing that I do every year where I am trying to pull 3 games out of the backlog, where I say these are the ones that I'm going to pick, and then I pull them out of the backlog really deliberately. Persona 4 is still from last year. I'm behind, but then I plan to pull out Quantum Break, Last of Us 2, and Ape Out from my like backlog, and that'll be like the 2025 games. So that's kind of the philosophy, but we've sort of alluded to the next section I want to get to here, and it's like, cool, what are our philosophies, but how do we actually manage this? I want to start maybe with Luke and Joseph here, because I think we got some more hardcore folks and some more softcore folks. Is that yeah, we're all over
out right now.
Yeah, we're all over the place. Luke, how do you manage your backlog? I see Notes app here.
Yeah, so I keep a notes app of games I've beaten, games I would like to play in the near future, and then games I like quote unquote should play, usually for like content purposes, thinking about like game of the year stuff, things that I'm like keeping on my radar. I think it's less structured. I've tried to use the GG app, to be honest, but to me it just felt like an extra step to keep that really updated, so it kind of felt a little overwhelming to me. That's kind of just not how my brain processes this sort of thing. And for me, I'm changing up so much what I'm playing that it was like this is ever flowing, this is ever evolving, so it's hard to track for me. I think I always try to I usually have a content game that I'm working on and then a game that I'm playing just for fun. So that's kind of just like I'm always slotting something new into one of those two buckets, if that makes sense. And then I also listed deep personal shame because I always feel like I'm missing something, but that's just kind of being a gamer in 2025.
And one that's like super like on the pulse of things, where there's 3 or 4 cool games that come out every other week, right? So how are you gonna keep up? The answer is
you're not. Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yep.
That's the answer.
You can never play everything.
Joseph, you have Brain Vibes and Wish List here. Tell me about Brain's Vibes Wish List.
All right, let me take you all on a journey here. All right, so just so I know my audience, how many people in this call have seen an episode of Succession, like episode 1 of season 1? I'm talking about.
Damn.
Okay,
I'll
That's
do
exactly
Just
what I've
one-
seen.
just
Emmett,
one.
Just one.
Emmett, I'll give you context, right? In wait, did I say Succession?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
I meant Severance. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
all
I haven't seen that either, but I'm aware
Okay.
of it way more than Succession.
So Severance on the first episode, they're doing their little job and they're just looking at a bunch of numbers and they're like, "How do you know which numbers you're picking?" And it's just like, "Oh yeah, I just can feel it, right?" So really, that's how we are, right? And when I say we, that's how I am with the games I'm playing. One, when I start it, you immediately feel it, and I feel like this backlog thing. The way I build my backlog is by always looking up what is the best X game in this, like what is the best game in this type of genre, right? So it starts out with me having like a specific hunger where it's like, okay, I'm ready for a Souls like. Let me look for these best Souls likes or you know, puzzle games or games like Outer Wilds or whatever. And then I go to Reddit or somebody on YouTube giving me a list. I look through those games and then I try and find the thing that most appeals to me. I think this process is the process I go through all the time. Like in a weird way, I'm at this point always searching for what I think might be one of the best games of all time in a specific genre or to me, in my opinion. So a lot of the games that I play now are influenced by either people hinting that this might be the best Souls like outside of From Software, or just somebody recommending it on a list. And to be honest, guys, I think I'm running out of games. Granted, I'm more of a modern boy, so like if somebody says, yeah, Mario 1 or whatever, like I get it. Well, you know, I don't want to go that far into the backlog. Like I'm
Trying to dig in
looking
the
like
crates.
5 to 10 years. I'm honestly running out of games, but I just got to dig a little deeper. I know I got to dig a little deeper, but we'll get there. So long story short, I don't have a list that I keep track of or anything like that. It is constantly ever updating based off of how many Reddit threads get made and what people talk about on podcasts, pretty much. So
You're refining data in your mind at all times. Got it.
there you go. Perfect.
Uh-huh. And then I kind of see you as an expert for ways to track, ways to look up, backlog management. You got some tools listed here. One that I've been thinking about jumping ship to, very imminently, and that's backlogged. But tell me about your systems.
Okay, so my systems are quite a bit different. So I do actually use actual tools like websites and whatnot that I'm going to talk about in a second. I will say, as far as how I organize what I play, it is very much like I said earlier, vibes based, but it's also I'm less. Every year I want to make sure I play some type of game that is like a homework game, like a classic that I should have played already, or like something that is just very influential. I played Quake 2 for the first time last year.
Oh shit!
Because I love shooters, and it's like I've never beaten a Quake game, and I'd never beaten a game before 2000 either. So that checked off both of those. And so exactly the face you just made. I actually beat 2 games before 2000 last year, Dynamite Cop and Quake 2. So I feel good about myself now. But I'll play one of those games every so often, but the bulk of my gaming is that looks interesting, that looks fascinating, that looks weird. There's some quirk about it. I beat Magus last year. I got the platinum to Magus last year, which is a PS3 launch
What is
title.
Magus?
Oh wait,
Yeah, it's ringing bells. It is a PS3 launch
see.
title, or maybe not launch title. I think it came out like 2013, a year before last.
Oh wait, no, I have no clue what this is.
It is a mage game. It's basically Gauntlet, but third person, and even more brain dead than that sounds.
What the hell?
And you beat it in like 4 hours. The platinum takes no time at all to get. It's on PlayStation Plus streaming right now. You can go play it there. That's where I played it. And it wasn't good and it wasn't fun, but it was fascinating. It was fascinating. A game like that could exist in the same year as The Last of Us. And it's just really cool to play these like weird offshoots of stuff. So I really that's what I value. Like I played Shank last year, and even the modern releases like Kimitsugami and Indica, I played because they looked weird and off kilter, and that was the thing that appealed me. So that part of it is just, hey, what looks cool and interesting. And as far as the actual tools go, we talked about Backlogged. Backlogged is really the closest equivalent to Letterbox that we have for video games. It is, you can find friends on there and whatnot, but it is mainly just, here's a game. Did you beat it? Did you complete it? Yes, no. What out of 5 stars would you rate it? You can write an extensive review if you want to, and that's pretty much it. It is intentionally bare bones, which I kind of appreciate, because then it's all right. There's no social feed to scroll through. There's no, a bunch of different aspects of the site all around. It's literally just, here are your games. Did you like that piece of art or not? Go on and play some more stuff. And you can track how many you've played. There's a couple stats there where it's like, I've played this much of this console, this much of this genre. It's very good. I pay for the Patreon for them, so I get a couple extra features. And the guy actually at the beginning of the year, he left his last job and now he's doing this full time. So
Oh, hell yeah.
Whoa.
we're gonna get a lot more features over there very soon. The second one here is the research I hinted at doing. Infinite Backlog is another one of these types of websites. Now, what a lot of these websites, because there's a million sites like Backlogged. I like Backlog because it is minimalist. Infinite Backlog is a little bit less minimalist. It is all the stuff I just said about Backlogged, but they also have like a social media feed. So if you want to like make a post and like share images and get likes and whatnot, you can do that. But they also have something that what we talked about in the Spoonful episode a while back, Minimap. They have it where you can connect your PlayStation account, your GOG, your Steam, your Xbox, and just import all the games on your accounts from there.
Oh,
so you don't have to go
that's
through.
cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
very
dope
cool.
for sure.
That way you don't have to go through and say, did I play Call of Duty 3? Oh, wait, it's just imported because it has my achievements. So really, really love that. And I also love the kind of meta layer to it where there's badges you can earn for different challenges. There's XP you're earning for every interaction on the site. I went through yesterday and synced all my games. It was literally like over 3,000 games that I synced up to it. And I went through all of them and said, all right, I own this one digitally through PlayStation Plus. I beat this one. I'm halfway through this one. There's a continuous game, so I never beat it. Blah, 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 blah. I sat there for like 3 hours doing that, and it tickled my brain. So I that is a complete waste of time, to be completely honest with you. But it's satisfying to me, gosh darn it. So I sat there and did that, and it'll give you XP for each type of interaction. There's like a collection bar. There's like a activity bar for like giving ratings and writing reviews and whatnot and engaging with other people. It's very cool. And one thing I really like that I talked about challenges. There's a whole list of like, hey, did you play every single Diablo game? Did you play every single Ratchet and Clank game? Every single Killzone? If you've marked off that you've beaten all those games, then you can cash in and check off that challenge, and it'll give you like a profile background and like a little tag next to your name that says like I beat all the Infamous games, so I have a tag that says Conduit next to my name. So
nice.
Little cute things like that. So I just signed up for that yesterday. It seems very interesting, very promising. What I'm hoping it doesn't do is get into the mini map situation of like,
Where they're selling your data or you're training a large language model.
I don't know about, I didn't even know about all that, but that absolutely seems plausible, because when I first got on Minimap, it was very clearly a Korean app first. And so it was just a bunch of Korean users there. And I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm intruding on a space that doesn't belong to me. And now they're selling Steam keys for a bunch of random games that I don't know.
Oh,
it's
nah.
like, it's clear they're like trying to monetize in a bunch of different ways, but this place seems just, it's Patreon and that's it. That's on the up and up. So I want to investigate that more. But the actual tool that isn't just tracking games, but changing the way I actually play games is Play Night. Play Night is a PC desktop app where it's just a launcher for everything, and literally everything. So, of course, you can connect Steam to it, GOG, Epic. It can connect all those storefronts. Even if you have like ROMs and stuff on your computer, it'll scan the folders you point it to and let you play your ROMs straight out of Play Night. It has add-ons for, how long to beat tracking. All your achievements will get tracked in it, and they'll show you what you have left to unlock. 1,000,001 add-ons. It's all community-based. It's all open source. It's great. There's also a full screen mode within the app, so I have it on my ROG Ally. That's how I play everything. So I use the controllers, slide through it, and I can make different custom categories and sorting and whatnot. But on the PC version, not on my ROG Ally, but on the PC, I also have it hooked up to get all my PlayStation games, get all my Switch games, get all my Xbox games. and it serves as a great way to say, hey, this game's on sale on Steam, but didn't I already buy that on like PS4, or didn't I already buy that on Switch or something like that? And so I can go on there, type it in, and then say, oh wait, I own this somewhere else. So I'm not constantly, because I used to do that a lot, especially with Epic and Steam, but now it's like, I have it on Epic, I'm just gonna play it on Epic. So yeah, it's a really good tool for like saving your money a little bit and just saying, all right, here's what I have access to, let me actually play the games I already own.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that with the Heroic Games launcher, which sounds like it's an open source, but maybe does it a little bit less, and that's how I manage my Epic, GOG, Amazon Prime games.
Yes.
But this actually looks like it's got more connections, and then there's also a streaming app that it may connect to that has the word Moon in it.
Moonlight and Sunlight.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Yeah. There is what is it? There is an extension made for Play Night that you can use your Sunlight library, use your Moonlight library, and then stream from other devices through Play Night. So it is possible. For sure.
This is like a whole nother world I didn't even know about, to be honest.
Are we sure these aren't like Pokemon spin-off games, Moonlight and Sunlight?
It's absolutely some nerd shit, but also be prepared. If you go crazy like me and connect literally every service you have to it, it will say, all right, we've collected all your PlayStation games. That is 3,000 games. Now sit here and wait for us to download the metadata and download the cover art and download all this stuff in the background. It's going to take a good 4 hours for us to get all this stuff for everything.
Damn.
But it's worth it. It's great. I love having things in one place.
Yeah.
That seems really cool. Oh, I was just going to say the library integrations piece seems really nice to me, because I don't know if it's GG app, but I feel like other ones where you like manually have to enter what you're doing, that really is a hindrance to me, where I'm immediately turned off. But if you're pulling in my stuff and then organizing it, that's dope.
Yeah.
Where I get a good dopamine rush of like, obviously my whole library isn't in GG, which is sort of the center of how I manage my games at the moment. But I get this weird dopamine hit of like finishing a game, then going to GG and being like, add it to the list and move it from playing to.
That's fair.
It just makes my brain feel good, you know?
Yeah, and that's a feature in Play Night too. I don't use it, but you can say, I've played this, I've beaten this, I've left this on the wayside. You can categorize it that way, but that's too much for me. I just stick to the websites.
Totally.
Yeah.
And see, that's the
Oh, sorry, Jacob. I was gonna say, like, I think these tools as like a tracking service alone is not as helpful for me. Like Luke says, it's fun in theory, but then when I have to like constantly remember to update it, once I start forgetting, then it's like, okay, well, we're out of the door. I like the letterbox type integration, because I think ultimately what I'm most interested in when we come to backlogs, and based off of like the stuff I said, you guys may be obvious, but like, what do other people think about this game? And then also, I would love a service to recommend me something based off of what other people are, like other people who have similar tastes have played and like, so like some sort of like recommendation service.
If I can bring something up, there is another app. I didn't write it on here, but Ludoscene, I believe it's called. They just finished their Kickstarter. And I think you can still sign up for late pledges too if you want access to the prototype that's out. But they pitch it as like a dating app for video games, to where they'll show you a card, you can look at a trailer right there, you can flip it around, look at all the stats, and buy it from there. And you swipe it. If it's a game you've played and you liked, you can add it to like played favorites. Then it'll generate more games based off of that entry, and it'll just keep showing you more and more recommendations. They've already hit up a bunch of people in the industry to serve as experts for different genres and whatnot. So if you're like, oh, I don't know if this is someone who signed up for it, but like Lucy James, I'm going to slide her card into the corner, and now it's going to show a bunch of games that Lucy James likes that she would recommend. And then you can say, oh, I like this one from her. Oh, I've never played that one. Don't care about that. And then just, collect things that way. So I think Ludoscene is one tool that I think is going to be pretty, from what I've seen and what I've played with so far, I think it's going to be pretty effective once it is fully featured and fleshed out. But yeah, that's one way we can go about it.
We'll make sure to include links to all this stuff in the description. Ludoscene is LUDOCENE, just in case you're trying to find it. And yeah, it's coming in September 2025. If you kickstarted it, it sounds like you can play around the prototype.
Indeed. Yes. It's good stuff.
So I use GG at the center of my I mentioned this, at the center of my brain for backlogs. But the thing that I don't love about GG is that you have to manually add games, and I know that this is going to change in the future, but you have to like go in a Discord, and let's say you want to add a game. It's then like sometimes 2 weeks, 4 weeks to get that game added to the database. What I love about Backlogged, despite there not being a mobile app yet for Android or iOS, it's something they're working on. They're also looking to add data imports from Steam, which will be super helpful. But it just uses data from the IGDB, which I think is like the standard for video game data across the web. So it's, if there's a game coming, it's just being pulled directly from that database. And yes, are there problems right now with different editions coming up? Like there are multiples of most games in that database, and therefore it'll show up in backlog. That's one of the biggest complaints and issues that they're working on. But just based on that alone, despite not being a mobile app, is one of the reasons why I'm like, because I don't want to say I play the most obscure of stuff, but at least 2 or 3 times a year I have to go and, oh yes, Ballionaire was a good example when I played that, Pachinko roguelite from last year, wasn't on the site. It took like 6 weeks to add, and I'm like, man, I just want to like put this, I already went through and beat it. Am I going to remember to go back to the site when it's added? And these are the most nitpicky things, but I think these nitpicky things are the things that differentiate and like get people to switch from one app to another. Mm-hmm. Emmett, last year or 18 months ago when we chatted about this on Spoonful, you brought up Exophase, which is something that because of you, I use and still use to this day.
Hell yeah.
Exophase is, again, just it imports all of your data from all of your systems, and it essentially just gives you a timeline of when you played a game, how long you played it, like what date you last played it, and then the achievements, which I think is really helpful, especially when I'm putting together my like game of the year lists, or like, hey, what are the things that because I keep track of everything I beat really well, but the stuff that I just touch or that I demo, I don't really keep track of super well. Mm-hmm. So it's just easy to see everything on in one timeline where I can go through and say, oh yes, I played that Nine Kings demo for 13 minutes on this timing for this Steam Next Fest. I'm a sadist for data. So Exophase was really helpful when you brought that up. I don't know if it's something that you're still using that much.
Oh, I still use it a lot. In fact, I was watching, Jacob Geller over at Nebula. He put out a video of like, here are my top 10 most played Steam games. And then half the video is him being like, all right, those are my Steam games, but like I played other stuff, and him trying to like remember how many hours in Dark Souls 2 he put in on the PS3. Meanwhile, I'm over here like on Exophase, I got everything there. Like I don't have to remember as hard. And I will say the limitation of Exophase is for Switch games, it will count all your playtime there, but it can only see the last 5 games you played. So you kind of got to like go through all your cartridges. If you're a sicko and want everything there, you got to go through all your cartridges and like let it cycle through. And then for anything older than like PS4, what I did is I literally booted up the games or looked at my save file and said, oh, I put 48 hours in the Saints Row 2. I put 20 hours in the Metal Gear Solid 4. Like I had to input that manually, and it's there for me to see forever now. But it is annoying if your PS3 is in a closet somewhere instead of on my table right now in front of me. Then I can understand that being difficult. But it is very satisfying to be able to say, all right, the most played games I've ever played, not only do I have Cookie Clicker at 1,000 hours, but I also have, yes, it's a problem. I would turn it on before I went to work and come back and use the cookies. It's a problem. But I also have on there all the hours I put into like Modern Warfare 2 when I was like 14. And so it's like 400 hours of that in multiple entries of Call of Duty. So it's nice to have all that there. Like you said, I'm a glutton for data. So Exophase I'm on constantly still.
And look, sometimes it gets it wrong. I know it says right now that I've played Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game complete edition, for 14,000 hours, which I know is not correct. But then I look at the next ones and go, okay, 266 hours in PUBG, 176 hours in Apex Legends, 123 hours in Fortnite. All of this makes sense. Indeed. The last piece of it is on managing the complete games. For a while, I was using Twitter.com, but again, we've said this before, it's a hellscape that we don't want to participate in. I was also using Giant Bomb's list features for like 10 years to track everything. This year, I moved to actually using a physical notebook to track when I beat games, which I think is like cool and vibey. Got a little like printer that I can actually like print the box title or the box art and then put it in
Wait.
here and then give a review.
Wait. Can you show the back of that book? Sorry for the audio listeners. Can you show the back of that book? Oh, I was like, wait, that's a sticker. I'm like, what's happening?
That's a sticker,
right
brother.
now?
Yeah.
I'm like, did he get a
custom
cut?
books
Is he
made.
about to unveil new merch for the podcast?
No,
Oh,
but hey,
That's
if
a
you
cute
find us at
idea.
PAX
Yeah,
East,
we could-
if you find us at PAX East, we may have kiss cut stickers for crossplay conversations. Just have to find us and find out.
That's it.
Be
You
nice.
cross-
nice.
Come-
All right, sorry. Continue.
No, it's all good. And so that's kind of how I make sure to track things. Leave a little review about my thoughts, kind of like really viscerally. Like when I finish it, I'm like, what do I think? And so it's a little flip, but I feel like it's a good, vibes based review of what I've been doing. I might go to a spreadsheet someday where I'm like, here's everything that I've ever tracked in one place. But that's a weekend project. Luke?
I will say for your list feature, Backlog does have a feature where you can make lists on the website as well. I think, and it goes beyond 100. I think that's the limit that like Minimap and maybe GG uses, but you can go past 100 and you can make folders of lists. So I have one folder that's like Game of the Year 2024 and like games I wish I beat, games I loved and played, games I didn't play enough of to qualify. So like you can bump this into categories and have like my franchise rankings in a different folder, et cetera, et cetera. So like you can have some fun there, but honestly, if you already got the habit in place to write it in a notebook, I really do think that's like the coolest and least independent on other people's infrastructure's way to keep that going. So
Yeah,
maybe
my
that's the
infrastructure
best.
is book
Indeed.
and pen.
Book.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that. I love the tactile idea of writing in a notebook, and that one feels like I would be more inclined to try that personally than I think some of those website tools. And I think after listening to this conversation that we've been having, I'm coming to terms with the fact that I think I track what I beat well, and I keep that in front of mine. But in terms of like stuff I want to play or stuff I haven't played, that is more nebulous on my end. So like I think in my notes app I keep a similar log of Jacob's journal, but I'm not tracking the rest of my gaming habits in the same way. But this is all very interesting. I'm learning a lot about myself and picking up some possible new tools, so this is good.
Same. I'm definitely learning a lot about. There's a lot of different utilities in all the different things. Like obviously, there's like getting your thoughts out as one, but then I am interested in I do think it's very interesting to see everything I've played across all different systems. So like the tools that Emmett was mentioning could be useful as well if it does it for me. It's just there's like the one wrinkle of video games is like a lot of games are just so long, and like even your ideas on a game might get lost to time depending on how long it takes you to play the game. So when I compare it to something like a Letterboxd or anything like that, it's just a little weird because you do have to kind of like come back after such a long time of playing this game, which I think every different service is trying to solve in their own unique ways. So
yeah. I think Letterboxd and Exophase is probably the best combo to go with. So you know what you've played, and then once you beat it, you can put a fine.
You mean
pin on it.
Backlogged?
Oh, Backlogged. What did I say?
Yeah.
Letterlogged?
You said you said letterbox.
Okay, Letterboxd. Yeah. I think Backlogged and Exophase are the best point because Backlogged just once the game's done, put a period on it with a nice little review, and then Exophase so you can see what you actually played in the first place. If you really care about tracking what you've not beaten and what's in the past untouched, I think Infinite Backlogs is actually really good at that because when you're transferring your games, it will say, yeah, you played this, but it's unfinished. And it'll do that by default on a lot of stuff. And if it doesn't track that you have any achievement data or something like that, then it'll just straight up say you've never played it. So I looked at there now after I transferred everything, 47% I have not even opened.
Damn.
Out of like 3,000 games I own. And like 42% I haven't beaten.
God.
And then everything else is what I've actually beaten and completed and whatnot. So it's like, it really puts it in perspective. But I question how valuable that is for everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I feel like I know that information is there, and I don't necessarily want those numbers, but it's cool that it's out there.
Well, I think, Luke, you mentioned this, and then Emmett, you just mentioned it. Obviously, like, we have huge backlogs. I don't expect everyone here to go through every single game that's in their backlog, or else we'd be here for days. But I guess I'd love to know, and again, back to shame, Luke. Sorry, I'd love to know kind of what the most shameful what the most shameful games are in your backlog. I will just quickly start and say, The Last of Us Part 2 is probably the game that I played for 12 hours in the pandemic, and then like was too sad. I'm like, this is too real. This is too sad. I can't do this. And so I want to go back to it. And I've tried at first to go back to it before the show started, but I think what's going to end up happening is I'm going to start it while the show is going, and I might not finish it before the show is complete. There's only so much time for gaming.
Yeah.
Luke, you're doing it right now, right?
I'm Last of Us Part 2. Yeah, I'm restarting it this weekend actually that's a content homework one, but replaying it for we're doing a retrospective podcast over on LukeWarmGames, and then we're doing some weekly reactions to the show. Big Last of Us fans over there. So but yeah, I think for me, when I think about like shame in my backlog, I kind of think about like iconic series in gaming that I haven't beaten or touched. I have my gaming card locked away in a safe over here so no one can take it. This is a safe space that I can admit this. Hopefully, maybe it won't be a safe space in a minute once I say this.
I'll be worse. Don't worry about it.
No, that's fair. The immediate one that my brain goes to is, despite having touched tons of entries in the series, having dumped 50 plus hours into some games, I've never beaten a Zelda game. I have played a lot of Zelda games. I've played probably like 75 plus hours of Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, but I've never beaten a Zelda game. So that's the immediate one I go to, because that just feels like...
Here the reaction was just like, yeah.
I mean, I guess that for me, that one's shame just because it's like, when you think of video games, it's like the series, or when you see like top 100 games of all time, or this and that, you know what I mean? Whether it's Majora's Mask, or Link to the Past, or Breath of the Wild more recently, like all this stuff. So it doesn't like bother me. I think I've played enough of that series to know what that series is, but that's one that I think about of like, yeah, I should, like, especially with like Breath of the Wild, one of my favorite recent games of all time. It's like, I should finish that game. Like I would enjoy that experience, but it kind of comes down to a time thing of like, will finishing that final boss really enrich my life to the point that like I would enjoy it, but is it more important over other things right this second? I don't know.
You know what, Luke? I tell those people, relax. All right. To all the people who are like, yeah, this game from 1980, which has 20 entries in the franchise, you have to play this. But the more years we get away, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. All right. I'm just gonna say it. The technology is evolving. All right. This game from 30 years ago is not going to hit the same as damn Elden Ring from 2 years ago. We've just evolved too much in terms of building games. All right. So like, I get it. I understand what Luke is saying. People say, oh, you haven't played fucking Metal Gear Solid 4, which I'll get to. I know it's not my turn, but I'm impassioned. I'm of the, like, you play a game, and I think within the first hour, a couple hours, you know if this game is going to be for you. If Chrono Trigger is not slapping in the first couple hours, you Chrono Trigger super fans need to hop off your horse. Just let it go, all right? Just let it go. This game was made...
triggered good.
That's actually really, really good. This game was made when they were designing what game mechanics were. Like, they were the blueprint, all right? We've mastered this, all right? We have Dishonored 2 out there, all right? Like, I'm just saying. Don't shame little Luke here for not playing a Zelda game. You know, granted, Breath of the Wild was, you know, pretty new, so that's a different conversation. Don't shame little Luke here for not completing one of the 20 Zelda games, Ocarina of Time or whatever, because he has new stuff to play. There you go, Luke. I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. I think it for me, it just comes down to what am I enjoying in the moment, and I'm going to try to play that if at all possible. So,
100%.
You gave your answer.
So
Hoopman Zelda is Luke's answer.
Yeah.
Hoopman, you alluded to yours.
Metal Gear Solid. I haven't played any Metal Gear Solid games, and that's one of the series people always gas up. My other big one is like, I'm in Act 3 of Baldur's Gate 3, and this is one of the games that I think is legitimately one of the best games of all time. So it's just in the back of my mind at all times that I need to go back. But I'm so afraid that I'm not going to recognize any controls, and I'm going to just be so sad when I get back into it. So,
that game's hard to 4 is very hard to play now, right?
It's just PS3.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you can stream it as well, but you have to pay for PlayStation Plus.
I'm in a weird
That's like a
place with
remaster
that
situation.
series where I've only played 5, which is like a totally different
wow.
thing in
See,
it. So I had
you're
the
better off
open
than
world
me.
vibes, but
How did you
You're better
get
off
to
than
that
me 'cause
place?
I only played 4.
You've
How
only
did I-
played 4.
how did I get to that place?
Yeah.
I had a PS4 when it came out and people were excited about it. I was in college, so I picked
Yeah.
it up at the time and
So
like
picked
played
it
it with
up.
my roommate,
Okay.
and we were scheming crazy open world scenarios to take on missions.
So-
Like we had a blast with it, but it's not based on what I know of that series. It's not inherently like a normal Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that works to your benefit, because now that you've played that, if they ever remaster 1 through 4, I mean, I guess they are remastering 2 or whatever it is, but when you go back and play those, I wonder if it'll even be more mind-blowing based off of your entry knowledge in 5 to be like, oh shit, this is what it was before then.
If they did remaster it, I feel like it would probably hit in a similar way that Resident Evil did, where I hadn't played a Resident
Yeah.
Evil game until 2 remake, fell in love with the series, then went down a rabbit hole and played 3, 4, 7 Village, all, you know what I mean? So that has become like a favorite. So I'm open to anything coming out of the backlog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Emmett,
Respect.
what's your shame?
I got way too much shame. Here's the thing. I don't feel shame.
That
is the thing.
100%.
That is the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
There are games that I know I should have played, but like I feel content in my choices because, like I said earlier, I'm playing it because I find things interesting, not because I have to. So yeah, I haven't beaten a Mario game in my life. I could say that, but I like New Super Lucky's Tale. Same shit, right? I think the most egregious ones are the ones that literally that scenario I just played out, where I am a big fan of like the dollar store version of this franchise, or like the weird offshoot. Like
Big Gex guy, got it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm a Gex
Oh,
guy, but
Lord.
like that energy is absolutely what I'm channeling, because I've come to discover that I actually kind of really do like Souls likes. I've tried Dark Souls, I've tried Bloodborne. None of them really stick for me. But I tried Thymesia a couple of years ago, and Thymesia was great. That's like an indie kind of Sekiro type like. I love The Surge 2. Those are great. But it's just I can't get over the hump. And it's even worse when it's like, oh, I like Resident Evil. Loved Resident Evil Village. Loved Resident Evil 4 and 4 Remake. I love like a good 60% of that franchise. And I started at Resident Evil 5, so that's saying a lot if I kept going.
True.
But
True.
I still have not touched Resident Evil 2, still have not touched Resident Evil 3, still have not touched the remake of the first one, which is what I really want to get to. Just filling in those gaps. So if I had to choose one of all of those, I think I would have to choose, I'm going to say Persona 5, actually. Which seems
Okay.
That's a
weird.
good one.
Which seems weird. I've started Persona 5. I got several hours in, but Persona and also Metaphor to just about the same degree. But those games seem narratively so my shit and visually so my shit. And despite the fact that I haven't played a lot of turn-based games, I love Costume Quest, so I know I can get into it. But I just get nervous about the time commitment. And on top of that, I know it's the type of game that like I'll play it for 100 hours and I'll think about it for 1,000 hours. So it's just going to take over me. And I'm afraid to give myself up like that. So I'm going to say Persona.
Love. Yeah, I having just, started Persona 4, and my understanding is that's the most dated, and that's why they're rumoring that there may be a remake in the near future. It's a PS2 PS2 game, and even the 3 remake is a little more modern. 5 Royal is dope. Metaphor is like GOATY material, so
Yep.
I'll get through 4. I feel like 4 was the right place to start because it only goes up from here. But maybe I'll join you in the 5 and Metaphor train in 2027 at this rate.
I've played the start of both of those games and they both blew me the fuck away. But then I was just like, man, but I can beat Alien Rage in 3 hours.
Yeah, 100%.
Check
So,
that box.
you know.
Check that box.
It's funny
Exactly.
because if someone told me with some of these JRPGs, if they were like, oh, it's only 20 hours, and even if it was like a trick, but if I got 20 hours into that game, then I'd probably be in. You know what I mean? But it's just like that gateway to entry that scares me a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna take this backlog train slowly into the station here. But what I'd love to do to finish out the episode here is I'd love to know. We talked a little bit about this in the
Wait,
icebreaker.
you didn't say your backlog game.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
your
Last
Shane.
of Us Part 2 is
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
one.
right.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And
Let's watch
I
the
do
TV
have
show.
more. I Quantum Break and Ape Out are also ones that I want to play this year. Persona,
Okay.
never playing because I've just really gotten to JRPGs in the last couple of years, where Ben Starr and Final Fantasy 16 were sort of my entry point to be like, this is not a JRPG, but it's like it ekes a lot of the same energy, and so this is my on ramp. So did
Yeah.
that, and then played 7 remake, and then Rebirth, and then Persona 4 Golden, which means like your boy's gonna slowly get more and more into JRPGs as he goes.
Catch the wave.
But it's probably The Last of Us Part 2. But I'm there with you on
That's a
a
big
Zelda
one.
game. I have beaten Wind Waker, and that is it. That is the only Zelda game I've ever beaten.
And
I've
I'll
rented
also,
and played Ocarina and Majora, and Twilight Princess, but never and played Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and they just
God
didn't
damn.
stick.
That's a
God.
different thing for
Ask
you
me
though,
how many
because I think
copies of
some
Breath
of
of the
those.
Wild I have.
I think some of those are a taste thing where it's just not your cup of tea, which is totally fine. But that's another wrinkle to this
See,
backlog thing.
I can't even say that because I've played 20 hours of both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild,
Mhm.
and I already know I like the Zelda formula because I love Darksiders, but I just never have beaten a Zelda. And look, you
This
have
is-
3 copies? Why?
Stupid, dumb, because I'm an idiot. That's why.
Oh my god.
This
Yeah.
is becoming one of those like I am Spartacus moments where like I've never beaten a Zelda game. I've never beaten a Zelda game. I've never beaten a. I mean, I only beat Wind Waker as well.
I've
and
never heard of
Tears of
Zelda.
the Kingdom. Those are the only two. So
I thought
I'm
the
with
game
you.
was
Luke.
named after Robin Williams' daughter.
Today I learned.
Yeah. Silly. I'll go back to what I was gonna kind of ease us into the finish here with. I'd love to know some more games that you pulled out of your backlog recently that you've enjoyed. I know we did one in the icebreaker, but as a sort of a speed round, I'd love to go around and maybe go until we stop on recent games we've pulled out of the backlog and played. Emmett, as our guest, I'd love to start with you.
Ninja Gaiden Sigma, I got really hype off of the 4 announcement, so I beat that one and then went straight into Black, which I've also beat. Industria, kind of a Half-Life-ish type of indie shooter from way back. I was like 3 hours long. It was kind of short, kind of disappointing, but there's a lot of promise there, so I'm excited for the sequel that's been announced. I did a live stream for my birthday last year where I platinum 100 games in one stream, so I checked off a lot of.
That's
Most of this
insane.
is garbage, but I played My Name is Mayo 3, which I played the first 2, and My Name is Mayo 3 was weirdly kind of good. So shout out to My Name is Mayo 3, and also
Like
that's why
mayonnaise, like My Name is Mayonnaise.
Oh yeah,
My Name is
iconic
Mayonnaise.
franchise, Jacob.
Absolutely, yes. And I got that platinum in like an hour, but it was an actually interesting
100
hour.
games is astounding. That's very impressive.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
pause.
insane.
It might not have been. What was it? No, I turned 30, so I platinum 30 games to get to 100 because I was
God.
at 70
Okay.
games.
Oh, that makes
That's
more
what it was.
sense.
Still
That's
crazy.
That's
way more
still
still
impressive.
nuts, but yeah.
Yeah. Not. I didn't kill myself on stream. We're good. I was saving It Takes Two to play with my ex, and then she became my ex, and so me and my friends both recently became exes. So we're like, hey, let's play this game together instead.
Nice.
And so we played It Takes Two together, and it was fucking incredible, just as much as everyone says. And the last one I'll say on here, you know what? I just said it earlier, but Shank. Oh no, forget Shank. Grime. Everyone should play
Mm,
Grime. It is
okay.
a Metroidvania, one of the most disgusting art styles I've ever seen, but it is really solid Metroidvania platformer. It's on Steam. It's cheap all the fucking time. I played it on Stadia at first and then rebought it on Steam because it was so good and I wanted to beat it. So check out Grime. It is incredible.
It does look kind of gross.
Yeah, it's very like dusty, slimy, old gods have forsaken us type of energy, but man, is it
Wait.
satisfying to play. It's Souls likey, but it's all based on parries, and you're getting like different abilities and energies based off of the enemies you parry. It's really good.
I played Grime 2, I think. Is Grime 2 a thing?
Grime 2 has been announced. I didn't know it was playable already to people.
I think there was some demo at PAX East, I think last year, that both me and Katie played.
Sounds
And
familiar.
I liked it. I liked it.
They announced
If
Grime
it
2
was
last
Grime
year,
2.
so that might have been it.
So
I'm jealous.
there you go.
Let me go because I only have one on the lightning round. I recently picked up and finally played No More Heroes 1. I grabbed the Switch versions, and that's a dated video game that doesn't hold up super well, both gameplay wise and culturally. But I'm glad that I played it. Will I play the second one? We shall see.
No more.
A lot of
playthroughs.
like early anime otaku energy, like that kind of
I love
summarizes
that.
the whole thing. Yeah,
Boy howdy.
Luke.
Immediate one that comes to mind. I finally played the first Citizen Sleeper this year. It's as
Oh,
good
hell
as
yeah.
everyone says. Loved that. I'm excited to play more of the second one this year. And I'll give a shout out to Mad Max. The Avalanche open
Ooh.
world game was something I jumped back into. I played it at the time of launch, but never beat it. But I'm a sucker for a good open world game. I love the Mad Max movies. I think that game's a ton of fun, and people rarely ever talk about. Great vehicle combat, tons of collectibles. The gameplay loop is just real solid. It was recently like $2 during a Steam winter sale, so keep an eye out for it. It's pretty cheap. Runs really well on Steam Deck also. So yeah,
Nice.
that's a recent one for me.
Did you ever play any of the Just Cause games from Avalanche as well?
And I love the Just Cause games, especially 2. That's like
two's great.
probably a
That's
top
the goat.
20 of all time for me. I love that game.
And Hoopman. I know gaming has not been on the front burner for you in 2025.
I'll have to pull out like a really old one. Like early last year, I played Wind Waker for the first time and beat it, which was I was trying to hold out for like the rumored Switch remaster, but it never came, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Let me just see what the hype is about. And it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it.
Did you play it like emulated on PC?
Who knows?
Who knows? You backed
Check
up
the
your
retro
copy and
achievements
played
right
it.
now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call the cops, actually.
Exactly.
Oh, Luke's gonna get a prop.
They released it for Steam Deck, right? That was a thing that they did. Right? Nintendo.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
Miyamoto
Yeah.
held up a Steam Deck on camera.
And said, "Play this on our app that we just launched."
Him and Gabe Newell shook hands.
Luke has his prop. There it is.
Hey,
He has,
Beautiful.
and it's
Never opened.
sealed. Oh my god!
What does that mean? Jacob, explain.
It's like unopened. This is like a new copy. After Jacob sold me his Wii U, I bought this with Jacob actually when we were in Seattle for a PAX, but I wasn't trying to buy a sealed copy, but believe it or not, this one was actually cheaper because it's the Nintendo Select like branded box, and apparently collector fiends don't like different cover spines, so it was like $10 cheaper than the opened copy. Go figure.
I was
but I want to play
is
it.
That worth like $1,000?
I think I paid like $40 for it, so it wasn't
And it's
egregious.
the regular with no player's choice is going for 110 sealed.
Yeah, so I think this one's like, I think I could sell it for a profit, but I would like to play it. Like if I ever turn on my Wii U, I think this would be a cool one to play, because I think the inventory management on the gamepad would actually be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I digress. Anyway,
Yeah.
I wanted to get a prop too. Everybody got props, so I had to join the fun.
You had to get the
Well,
props.
props to your prop.
Props too.
Gentlemen, I think that's gonna do it for our show today on Gaming Backlogs. Any final thoughts before I throw it to my friend Emmett to plug his shit? Going once, going twice.
I'll just say this episode made me feel more comfortable with my pile of shame and gave me some resources to possibly address it if I choose to. So thanks, everybody.
Look at that,
Potentially
and
don't
hey-
read the comments.
yeah, we're not looking at the comps. I might turn those off for this one.
Yeah. Make sure to check the description. We're going to list out everything that we mentioned today in there. But Emmett, thanks again for coming on the show today. If folks want to find you, where's the best place they can do so?
If you want to find me, I will be EJ Spun61 on pretty much any platform that exists. I'm gonna keep it real. I've hopped off of a lot of them as far as
Hell yeah.
I don't post on IG anymore because they were at the inauguration. I don't post on X anymore for even more obvious reasons. So like, Blue Sky is the place. EJ Spun61 on Blue Sky. EJSpun61.com is the website. You can see all the stuff I've done, things I've posted on VGU.TV, episodes of Players Club Podcast, episodes of Welcome to the Thing. You can get to all of them there. But really, Blue Sky's the main thing. EJ Spun61 on there. You're going to see a lot of me in the next couple weeks, it seems, because I did something also 2 days ago that's going to go up probably around the time this goes up, maybe. So look out. I'm very excited.
Hell yeah.
Well, again, thank you for coming on the show today, boys. Before we close, anything you want to promote to the lovely listeners who are listening today?
I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you can check out Lukewarm Games for a bunch of Last of Us 2 content, both game and show. So if you're in the mood, hit us up.
Hells yeah.
Hootman?
I don't got anything right now. Go listen to Player Video Game Podcast. We're always doing crazy stuff over there.
Oh, hell yeah. And for me, I talked about No More Heroes. We're doing a little episode of the Left Behind Game Club about No More Heroes, and that'll feature Seth Sturgill from Carpool Gaming. So please check that out if you are looking for some cool times with some cool peeps.
Can I ask, are you playing No More Heroes right now specifically for any specific reason?
No, I played it about a month ago just because I always wanted to.
Okay. I was wondering if that spoke to the culture with that name because I've never played it. So I'm like, ooh.
No. Ooh, yeah. Eee.
Yeah.
No, it just happenstance, I guess.
Understood.
With that, my friends, we are setting our status to away. Until next time, you can do 4 things for us. First, give us a follow on BlueSky. We are at Crossplay Convos. Subscribe to us on YouTube because we are trying to get that fancy custom URL at some point. So make sure to hit the subscribe button. Send this podcast to a friend because that's how people hear about podcasts, and give this a review on your podcasting platform of choice. It helps the algorithm juices. They love it. So with that, keep tackling those backlogs, friends. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Peace.